It's the Comedy Store tonight, starring Argus Hamilton, with guest Brian Moses and Julie Seabaugh. Now, give it up for the man. It's the Comedy Store tonight, starring Argus Hamilton.
We got a sensational show ready for you, and let's have some fun with the news. Big news right off the bat with the National Football League. Have you heard the news? The Buffalo Bills announced Friday they are going to, for the first time in 42 years, allow a player to wear O.J. Simpson's famous number, 103756. And by the way, for you viewers, welcome to Los Angeles. We'll all agree, Los Angeles is the only city where you buy marijuana at the store and straws from a dude in the alley. By the way, we just had a Memorial Day. Looks like everybody made it out alive. That's nice to hear, because statistics show that Memorial Day is America's 9th drunkest holiday. The 10th if you don't count Brett Kavanaugh's birthday. Now, interesting item in the news. Sky News reported today that a Japanese tourist died after eating 263 packets of cocaine during a flight from Mexico City to Japan. I can't even get peanuts. And then the funniest story is that this happened on Friday, and it's always Florida, right? A Florida woman was arrested, okay, for performing a sex act on a driver in a moving vehicle while she was smoking crack and drinking a beer, winning the talent portion of the Miss Florida pageant. That's a good one, right? Good old Florida, always there for us. And speaking of the South, there's this religious attraction. A lot of you heard about this. This religious attraction in northern Kentucky. Did you hear about this Noah's Ark, 600-foot long ark in northern Kentucky? They're suing their insurers for flood damage. You can't make it up. Noah's Ark, flood damage. Let that sink in. I mean, Noah should have known better than to sue an insurer for a policy that didn't cover acts of God. You know? Let's face it, he never should have let those 2 termites onto the ark. Meanwhile, a pastor, a minister, was killed by crocodiles while giving baptisms in southern Ethiopia the other day. Why in Christ's name was he trying to baptize a crocodile? Meanwhile, Oscar-winning actor Jon Voight took the stage Saturday night and declared that Donald Trump is the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln. Historians agree it was Lincoln's second worst night in the theater. Of course, all the squabbling now in Washington. Last week, President Trump met with Nancy Pelosi. It lasted only 3 minutes. Stormy Daniels said, "That's about right." Actually, Melania has a nickname for Donald. She calls him Cowboy because he usually falls off after 8 seconds. Now, the Democrats are tough. They're campaigning. Joe Biden said yesterday that President Trump cannot relate to the everyday problems of normal Americans. Well, that's a fair point, you know. President Trump is so privileged. The only job he ever applied for was President of the United States. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced today he has not decided on what kind of punishment to get New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft for the episode at the Hooker Asian massage parlor in Florida. But he's got to remember that punishment is $60 extra. Did you hear about President Trump's gaffe in Tokyo yesterday? He thanked the Japanese for building America's railroads. He didn't really do it, but you believe me, didn't you? I got you. Now, out here, an Orange County judge was just reelected, even though he was censored last year for having sex with two women at the same time in his judge's chambers during lunch hour. Which delivery service do I call to get that sandwich? Let's see. Also, House Democrats are on the warpath, trying to impeach Trump for anything. Today, they declared that a comb-over is a cover-up. And now my favorite, everybody's favorite, the new Congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Well, she took all her Instagram followers on a video tour of the Bronx and their community gardens. And she, just on camera, she said, everyone should have ethnic vegetables and fruits grown. And not cauliflower, she said, because cauliflower, she said, is colonial. She said cauliflower is a white vegetable. Hey, well, so is Joe Biden, senorita, and he's leading the polls by 20 points. Right. Hey, we got a great show for you tonight. This is kind of a theme for the roast battle tonight. We've got the great Brian Moses, who initiated and started the roast battle. And we have the only, really the only working syndicated and freelance comedy writer in America, Julie Seabaugh, who's with us. We're going to have some fun with her. We're so glad you're here tonight. We got a great show. Welcome to Argus Hamilton's Comedy Store tonight. Nice to have you here.
It's Tuesday night, it's the Belly Room. It's a free country. Are you ready for roast battle? Welcome to the roast battle. It's Tuesday night, it's the Belly Room. It's a free country. Are you ready for roast battle? Welcome to the roast battle.
Welcome back. Nice to see you here, buddy. Welcome back. Nice to have you here. Welcome back to Argus Hamilton's Comedy Store tonight. And before I introduce our next guest, we have a little segment here we call Fan Mail. Let's have some fun with it, okay? I'm reading this for the first time. Dearest Argus, it's your cue card boy, Josh Gibby Gibson. I'm writing this letter from your cage in your basement. Thank you for letting me use your old PSP to play around with, by the way. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you I love you, and you're the only man I ever loved, except for Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. Bazinga, haha, that guy is truly hilarious. You should have him on your show. Anyway, how's the girlfriend? I heard she was a real fox, LOL. I heard you guys up there last night. It sounded like you guys were having fun. A lot of laughter, smelled like food was up there. By the way, you can change the poop bucket. It's starting to overflow and makes a mess and attracting flies that keep biting me in my sleep. Anyway, I mentioned the water in my last letter. It's starting to become a problem, and it smells like fish down here, and my socks have mold in them. I got really sick the other night and threw up in the corner, and it mixed around with the moldy water and the overflow from my poop bucket. Bazinga. Also, if I could get something warmer than this newspaper to sleep with. I'm just really sick, and it would be nice to have something better than this wet newspaper. From your cue card boy, Josh Gibby Gibson. P.S. My nickname, Gibby, is from the fact that I'm always so gibby and happy and make the best of my situation. I love you more than young Sheldon. Winky face emoji. And that's the humor. You know, I'm too proud to accept pity. Listen, it is a privilege right now to introduce this next guy. I saw him start at the Comedy Store. I saw him grow like a weed on stage. And this is the guy that took, you know, a little time in the belly room and turned it into his own starring role on Comedy Central, namely the Roast Battle. Give it up for Brian Moses.
Hey!
Nice to see you, buddy.
Thank you!
Thank you so much.
This is an honor.
Nice to be here.
The ageless one, Ageless Hamilton.
Yes, sir, Rick.
This is good.
Nice to have you, man.
Great intro. This is great. This is huge, man. I love this for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, look, I hear you're still doing some riffing on Obama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing on Obama now?
I'm talking about his penis lately. I'm talking about
His penis?
Yeah, I want to know how big his dick is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's weird that we don't know. Do you know?
No, he's the first one in several presidents we didn't know.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's the first black dick in office.
I felt like he was holding out on us.
Well, I asked because he was on CNN like a couple weeks ago, and he said, "Oh, Michelle's gonna leave me," and I was like, "Oh, that's little dick shit. That's little dick things. You know, you don't say that to people. You know, especially a black guy. You never see that."
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh, he's got a little dick," and that hurts me to know that our first black president has a tiny penis.
Oh man.
I know. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reaction I was looking for.
And for white guys, there goes a stereotype, Joe.
Me too.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
So you've been having a good time hosting, of course, the Roast Battle.
Love it.
Please tell how that got started. That's a miracle of the Comedy Store. This is the biggest story since Mitzi Shore brought in Steven Spielberg to watch Whoopi Goldberg do her mom's Mabley show upstairs in the belly room.
That was a real thing. She did that?
Yeah, and then Steven said, "Wow, you're just what I'm looking for the color purple," and boom, that's how it started.
She didn't take that the wrong way.
No, and you got the same room, and you got your breakup there.
Yeah.
How did it happen?
I guess I'm Whoopi Goldberg's bastard son. I don't know, because she's not a man. But no, they took away one of the potluck nights. Remember that?
Right.
So Monday,
They took away Sunday.
They took away Sunday, right?
They put you up in the belly room.
Yeah. So I was like, well, we're losing. I think we're losing some like young talent, like young friends. I was losing, just like coming up in the stand-up game. And then I asked Adam for a night, and he gave me Tuesday. And then a Comedy Store employee, Josh Martin.
Yeah.
He was going to fight an open mic comic named Kenny Lyon. And then instead of fighting, I said, hey, how about you guys tell some jokes about each other instead of fight?
So as a peacemaker, you brought them together to tell jokes on each other.
Well, no, we wanted to slap box, but they had just installed cameras. So, yeah. But then I made some.
And then what happened the first night? Did the crowd just eat it up?
Yeah, we ate it up. Yeah, because they were awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest, remember Mitzi said that mediocrity causes new comedians?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what happened that night.
Yeah.
That was such a terrible roast battle that literally everybody was like, we can do better than this.
Yeah.
And every Tuesday since.
So at first you were
have
just
done
calling
better
each
than
other
that.
names before you started writing jokes?
Yeah, exactly. That was great because they didn't like each other.
Yeah, that's like any day on cable news. I mean, that's no big deal.
It's Crips and Bloods.
So
Libs,
it started off, you started arranging matches because our own Brett here, the director, he's undefeated.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
Still, Brett?
Yeah.
He'll be
But guys
changed,
are developing reputations, getting on Comedy Central.
Yeah, it's been kind of a like a little talent pool for them to kind of pick. I guess nobody really, but yeah, they've seen people. Comedy Central. It's launched some careers. It's helped us out a lot. You know, it's brought some vision back to the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
So it's been great.
So what have been your favorite face-offs?
My favorite face-offs. Wow. I saw Tiffany Haddish battle Sarah Tiana.
Yeah.
And Tiffany Haddish was so bad. She was like, "I'm gonna make you my writer."
Yeah.
That's how you know you beat somebody, when somebody's like, "I just write jokes for me because I can't beat you." So
Yeah.
that was a good one. I saw Ralphie May battle Mike Lawrence.
Wow.
Yeah. Before he died. And yeah, that was a great one. I think it was like a classic all-timer, actually. Mike won. He beat Ralphie on his way to win the first TV title we had.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So when was it that you found out, or how did you get on to Comedy Central?
I got on Comedy Central. Jeff Ross. I did what's called a blowjob.
That's a new approach in show business.
Is that a new one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't miss Rocket Man this weekend.
Is that in it? Spoilers! Jesus! Why would you?
Oh, I don't think of the gay thing. I know he's 20 years sober now.
Okay.
Elton is. So how often do you get to see a cocaine movie with a happy ending? Maybe it's personal. Go ahead.
Right. What was the question?
How did you get to Comedy Central?
So Jeff was dating a battler at the time, and she gave me his email and said hey, email him. I think he'd be into this. And I emailed him, and he said, "Fuck no." But then just by chance one night, a buddy of his, Benji Aflala, was battling Yasser Lester, and he just kind of came upstairs just by chance. And he saw it, and the next day he emailed me back and said, "Hey, sorry I dished you last time, but I think I love this, and I want to make this a TV show."
Because Jeff is known as the nation's roast master, and
he's cornered that market, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so putting him on is emblematic of we're legitimate.
It makes it, it does make it legit. You're just like, all right, that's the guy. So if I can impress that guy, or if that guy wants to produce a TV show about roasting,
does Jeff participate, or you participate in any of the insults?
Sometimes I'll take some zings. I'll pass some zings out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I stay away. It's those who can't roast host. So
is that it?
I just stay away.
That's nice. Yeah. Well, so what else are you doing with your career now?
Man, just writing. I've written on some things, a few TV shows. I've consulted on some things. Just trying to keep some money in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, it's just trying to survive in Los Angeles. Trying to be in an audience, a paid audience in a basement.
Well, what's it like surviving in Los Angeles for you?
Oh, Los Angeles kicks your ego in the dick every day. That's what it's like. Yeah.
I've heard that if you ever secretly think that you're not that good looking, Los Angeles is the place to go to find out you were right.
Yeah. You've been to an audition. It's 8 other versions of you that are all better looking than you, better shaved, sound better, pronunciate their words better.
Yeah, but you're funnier. You'll get the gig.
Thank you. Oh my God, you want to adopt me?
Yeah, man. Well, don't set me up.
I'm just saying, man, I heard your fan mail, so I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a vacancy's open.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a vacancy in the basement after that letter.
We're in the basement.
I wouldn't keep you in the basement. Times have changed.
Yeah. Have they?
So tell me about Life South of Olympic.
Oh my gosh. It's been fine. I mean, having the show, it's been great. It's opened some doors, right? I guess it's kept me relevant in a sense in show business. It's kind of given me a little bit of purpose to write and be a part of things, create other things,
Brian, you came up through the ranks. I mean, you started. Did you showcase for Tommy originally?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so this was about 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
About 10 years ago.
No, it's about 8 years ago. Yeah.
8 years ago, and then you segued to the door, and then to work your way on. And then the big break comes. All you have to do is show up, and keep getting better and better and better. You're a classic example of success at the Comedy Store, because you never know where the lightning's going to strike, but as long as you're there, it can. Right?
That's the gift from the curse of Los Angeles. If you're just there, it can happen to you.
Yeah.
You don't need talent.
Yeah. The biggest
stay in it.
The biggest mistake you can make is go on the road, be a big hero headliner, and the town forgets about you.
Right,
this
exactly.
Is where it's happening.
Yeah, this town can't wait to forget about you.
Yeah.
Who are we?
Yeah.
You're Argus Hamilton.
Well, himself. do you aspire to host a talk show yourself? Do you want to do a sitcom? Do you want to write? What is it you want to do? You're an inventive guy, but you're smart. So you could either write, produce, or you could perform.
Yeah, I'm I like everything. I like doing it all. That whole jack of all trades. I guess like not great at one thing, but trying to be good at like a bunch of things. So right now it's just I'm kind of doing what I want, which is just to create. Nothing's really like I guess surfaced, but like I still get the pitches.
Yeah.
Some things will hit. You know what I mean? Some things won't. Obviously, like you usually pitch more than you sell. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what everybody's doing. I'm assuming in here, right?
Well, the best advice I ever got about show business for pitching shows actually came when I was in college, when a guy was trying to talk a bunch of us fraternity boys into selling a 4-book Bible set door to door across the country. Okay. And
Were you in the
he had wait a minute, he had this really slick pitch. I mean, you knock. This is back when people opened their doors. This is
For you,
the mid '70s. Oh yeah,
right.
For centuries.
400 years. I'm kidding.
I mean, if there's anything more aggravating than white privilege, it's assuming it, I guess. But anyway.
Give me some.
Well, I'll show you how.
Finally. I just had to come to a basement to figure out how to get some white privilege.
We were talking about persistence. And here's what the Bible guy said. He said if he will start his day at 8 in the morning and knock on 40 doors, okay, if he knocks on 40 doors, he said 30 of them will answer, 25 will let him in, 15 will buy 2 of the books, 10 will buy 3 of the books, and 3 people will buy the whole set. But you have to knock on 40 doors for it to happen. And so it's all about arithmetic. If you will show up at all of these pitch meetings, pitch. It's like Ichiro Suzuki. If he gets up 10 times at bat, he's going to get a hit 3 times, okay? And so if Brian Moses goes to all of these pitch meetings, you're going to sell something as long as you take care of the volume of pitches.
Am I buying a timeshare? What's happening right now?
I'm trying to get you medical insurance.
Okay, dang, all right, good, all right.
After a SAG Screenwriters Guild, man, you're covered for life, man. The pension is out of this world, okay? Just get hired.
I just came to buy some Molly, man. Jeez.
Man,
I'm in an interview.
I got sober before Molly's. Don't tease me like that. I hear this is great.
You'd love it.
Those are Kinison's last words are, Argus, you'd love Molly's.
Did she die with him?
Not that night. No, he always died a day before I did. That's why I'm still alive. I'm the king of cocaine.
I want that title.
Kidding,
Mom. Kidding.
Yeah, Pablo Escobar laid off the night shift when I got sober November 3rd, 1986.
I had no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, what are you talking about on stage now? Give me some
right
material.
now.
Give me some material.
Gosh, I'm just making white people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
A lot of that. Yeah.
It didn't work on me. Did it work on y'all? Yeah,
no,
we
because
love
you're
you.
racist, Argus. It's fine. Doesn't bounces right off of you. It's easy for you.
It's not overt, though, is it?
Oh yeah. It's objectively
Is it
safe.
overt?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. You're wearing the suit.
I thought I was a better actor than that. I wanted to be seen as paternalistic. That's better than racist.
That's true. No, I'm talking about Ron Goldman. Like we can relate to this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because nobody talks about Ron Goldman. They only talk about OJ and Nicole. They never talk about 25-year-old Jewish Ron Goldman. Like I feel like he could have had so many more sexual assaults. We'll never get that chance to hate him. It's like a Weinstein we never got to hate.
Well, my girlfriend in the 90s, Jill, she was an American Airlines attendant and an actress. We would go to California Pizza Kitchen in Brentwood, and Ron Goldman was our waiter there.
Really?
Yeah, he was there.
You knew him?
Yes. He said Ron Goldman, Aurora, Illinois, so East St. Louis, and he would go caddy corner to Mezzaluna and work there as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, do you know the first?
Did you sleep with him too?
You know the first thing he said to Nicole when they got to heaven?
What?
Here's your goddamn glasses.
That's so funny. You think he's in heaven.
Oh, God. Well, you know, it's restricted.
I feel like because it was so fucked up what happened to him, I feel like he's the only white guy who can say the N-word in heaven.
Yeah.
And I hear you. You're like, Brian, it's heaven. Why can't we all say it? Is it really heaven?
I think the white trash that would use that seriously is in purgatory. So anything else you want to talk about?
What's up with you? I love this.
Man, we're having fun down here.
Yeah, these are fans.
We got a great crowd here.
We gotta get you some diversity in here, though. You only have like one. I don't know what this guy is, but everybody else I feel like this is your family in here, or a cult meeting. I don't know. It's fun though. This is great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, just having you here keeps me being sued by the Justice Department.
Thank you. I'm here to save lives. Black lives do matter.
Absolutely. And so, is there a particular engagement you want to plug before we go?
Yeah, Roast Battle every Tuesday night here at the Comedy Store. We do it every week at 11 p.m. You can catch Brett maybe battle in 1 week.
Going for the record next week.
Brett Erickson, 9-0. Our director, going for the record 9-0 next week, next Tuesday night.
Is that next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday.
Oh, it's big.
There's your man. I mean, he is it, man.
June 4th.
You've never been. You don't know.
No, I know you by
You gotta
reputation.
Listen, it's past your bedtime, but yeah, you can watch it every other day on the Periscope. But yeah, there's also a podcast we have. It's called the Roast Battle Podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts with the Comedy Central Network. So.
Oh, fantastic.
That's us, man.
Well, Brian Moses, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Argus
man. You're
Hamilton, this
wonderful.
is great.
Great
Thank
to see
so
you growing,
much.
man.
Man, thank you, man.
We're going to have a picture taken together. We'll be right back after this, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Argus Hamilton's Comedy Store tonight. We got a great crowd with us tonight. So glad you all are here. Thank you all for showing up. And before I introduce our next guest, we have a sponsor I get to honor, and that's good old Bacardi Rum. Let's see what they have for me tonight. Sup, you bitches. What's cracking? Y'all want to know what the best damn drink in the world is? Bacardi. I freaking love that ish. Man, I would get lit AF and holler at those chicken heads on Hollywood Boulevard. They be straight tripping sometimes, though. Can't trust these trick-ass bitches. What can I say? I'm just a fly-ass mother shut-your-mouth that likes to mac on all the honeys I can. Bazinga. You feel me, dog? Like my mother always says, if they be trippin' because you crippin', might as well be sippin' and leave them drippin' on that sweet, sweet, dank, dank Bacardi. I'm Guybrush Threepwood, and I can fit my whole hand in my mouth. Bacardi, pimpin' made easy. All right. That rescues us from the first bit. Listen, it is a pleasure to bring to the stage right now a lady that I've never met before, but I've certainly heard about. She's perhaps America's only freelance comedy journalist working right now. And if you don't mind, I'd just like everybody to know that you've written for Rolling Stone, GQ, Vanity, Playboy, just to name a few. She founded the comedy magazine, Two Drink Minimum, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. She's the author of Ringside at Roast Battle. That's right. This is a theme show tonight. And she's creating a documentary right now about comedy right after 9/11. So give it up for Julie Seabaugh, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to welcome you. Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Welcome here. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank-
I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Well, you told me we've met on the phone before?
I believe we've talked about Sam Kinison before.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we got into the cocaine stories quite as much.
Well,
we
what
might
else
have
was
to
there
do
to
like
say?
a follow-up.
You mean the comedy part?
But there was, I want to say like 2007. I was at Las Vegas Weekly at the time, and that was, Kinison died outside of Vegas.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
With needles, if
Yeah.
I get it correctly, and we did a 17,000-word, 2-part oral history on his legacy and life, and I think you contributed a few things.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah.
He was quite popular at the Dunes Hotel Comedy Store.
Right.
He and Carl LeBeau and Alan Stephen and their group, their outlaw group, Mitchell Walters, they were sensational, and it was just as his career was taking off.
Yeah, and he was apparently sober at the time. Was that a?
He was.
Yeah.
He did go through streets of sobriety. He did. His attorney, Howard Weitzman, after he wrecked his car up on Benedict Canyon, told him to start going to meetings. And he started going to meetings, and wouldn't you know, he liked them. He really did. But it was so difficult for him to go back to the house where the party's still going on. So he was in and out. It was sad.
Yeah, he's one of the originals, man. There was
Yeah.
no one like him.
That's right.
Like his legacy is just.
You like Sam's impression. Who are some of the other comics that you really like?
Oh gosh. I originally got into writing about comedy. I grew up on a farm in Missouri.
Yeah.
No cable, no comedy. Crops, cows.
Yeah.
And I was always reading and into movies and music, and I started writing about that at college, University of Missouri, the School of Journalism, and Dave Attell came and did a show my senior year. Have you had Dave Attell on the show? He's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I saw the show, and I kind of got drunk with him afterwards. It wasn't Bacardi, but a little Jaeger. That's a different ad. The Jaeger ad's a little. It involves, like, in my case, waking up on your friend's bathroom floor, vomiting.
Yeah.
And it gets you into comedy.
Yeah.
Jaeger.
Hey.
Yeah. And then I graduated and moved to New York about 3 months after that.
Yeah.
Hung out at the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah.
The scene in Brooklyn was starting to really pop at that time. And then I moved out here at one point, Vegas, back to New York. This is the second time I've been in LA. And now just being here at the Comedy Store, all my 16 years of writing and all the titles you mentioned,
Well, let me ask you
It's a
something real
great
quick.
honor.
Do the show business people in New York or Los Angeles really appreciate what a degree of journalism at Missouri entails? I mean, you don't know that this is the Harvard of journalism schools. It really is.
They tell you that. They say that. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
They just crank out communists one after another.
Columbia, Missouri is the only, this is true, it is literally the only liberal city in all of Missouri.
Of course it is.
The
Yeah.
little dot
Yeah.
surrounded by the,
Ditto Norman, Oklahoma, trust me. And Austin, Texas. I mean,
Right,
every
yes.
place that's getting a tornado
It's
tonight.
very Austin.
Yeah. Yeah. The wrath of McGovern is on us all.
Yeah. Relation, I don't know. But yeah, journalism seemed to have a bit more value at the time.
Yeah.
And again, I've been doing this 15 years, and like you said, like there was no one else writing about comedy in a serious manner. It was always thrown in with like the music listings or what's happening around town. We got this wacky show, and there's a bunch of bad puns, and nobody was actually writing about comics as individual artists.
Right.
And designating the good from the bad and providing the context as to why that was. Like, what makes good comedy?
Right.
And here are the people you should be looking out for. And then, there was the bust, 2007, financials, it affected advertising.
Yeah.
And print.
Killed newspapers everywhere.
Yes, it did.
I lost.
Yes, it did.
I lost 60 newspapers. From that.
Jeez. Yeah. I lost my job, Las
Yeah.
Vegas Weekly. But just been freelancing ever since. And the blogs now have, a lot of the major ones cover it in some way, and there are about a half dozen blogs that are dedicated solely to comedy.
Yeah.
Now Vulture has acquired Splitsider. There's the Comics Comic, there's Laugh Spin, there's Dead Frog, there's the Interrobang, and it's, an actual thing at this point.
You might as well be speaking Chinese to me right now. That's some hip language. Do you, okay, because I'd like to paint one quick picture for you. In the late 70s and early 80s, there was an appreciation for comedy during the first boom, and the Los Angeles Times had a weekly columnist in the calendar section named Bill Needleseater. Did you know about him?
I'm dying up here.
Huh? That's right. And he covered a tumultuous time in stand-up comedy, and covered it weekly in the LA calendar section. And there was certainly a place for a journalist like you to come along and carry that torch.
Yeah, I guess it maybe kind of died out in the bust after the first one. And now at this point you have like Jason Zinnemann, who has a column for the New York Times. I think it's going on about 7 years at this point. And so, between seeing it still in print and all the blogs, it's like, yeah, there are conversations happening about why it's so important of an art form. And in my opinion, it is far more important than like film or music.
It's the only place where truth is being told.
And in the moment, and all these different people with these different backgrounds can be in the same room, laughing at the same thing at the same time.
That tells you something about humanity. We all laugh in the same language and the same color.
It makes me like very optimistic whenever I leave a show.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll be okay, I hope. Don't turn on the news.
Well,
Just stay in stay in the back of the comedy club.
What on earth is keeping you from banging down the door at the LA Times and getting your own spot in the calendar section?
Well, there's not a lot of money in it these days.
Oh, yeah.
Along with the increased blog coverage, it kind of has decreased the value. You can't I've barely been pulling it off for these 16 years, and am now trying to move into like books. And like the documentary where you were talking about, where it's actually I want to start getting to a point of not necessarily just reacting to what's happening in comedy, but to create things that will also be reacted to and tell these stories about, like, this is just reporting.
Let's talk about
this. It's a book of reporting.
This is Roast Battle she wrote. Now talk about what inspired this and all that.
Well, you covered some of it, Moses, kind of the beginnings of how it was, just two open mic comics who were going to fist fight.
Yeah.
And now 5 years later, it's this global phenomenon.
Yeah.
There are imitators in every major city with a comedy scene.
Can you imagine what that would be like on the West Bank? I mean,
and there's versions. It's everywhere.
That's to settle things peacefully,
Literal battle, literal. And Comedy Central has these versions not only here, but in the UK it was the highest rated Comedy Central UK show ever. There's a French version, South African version, Mexican version.
A French version of the Roast Battle? That sounds like a cooking show to me.
Televised in all those different languages. And it's like, when has this ever happened?
Yeah.
So just tracing that arc of the creation through the scandals. There were some fights, there were some rivalries.
And it's all in this book, the fights and the rivalries?
Yeah, with photos by Troy Conrad.
Yeah.
He was covering it, some great shots. And it just sort of covers how Moses was leading this sort of circus of all these different characters, and you had the haters and the wave, and Coach T doing the DJing in the back, and Jeff comes in and he lends credibility, and then all of a sudden you have like Jason Reitman making a short film that goes to Sundance, and it just keeps building, and it was not something that was ever planned.
Right, complete accident, just Brian being a nice guy.
Yeah, and just the concept is so, like, it takes the old Friars roast and combines it with like the street battling, the insults.
Yeah.
So you have these two cultures combining.
Like East Side Story, but with insults, right?
And less
West
dancing.
Side
Less dancing. Although Moses, he can, Jeremiah, getting into dancing. And it just came up with this sort of whole new thing that it's not stand-up, it's not sketch, it's not improv. I have a theory that it's like this fourth new pillar, because roasting is so mainstream at this point. It's everywhere. And it's just so equalizing. Like,
do you ever go online and watch any of the old Dean Martin roasts and learn anything from that?
I did, yeah. in researching this, and also you can always. It's interesting because the stuff they were doing was so offensive at the time.
It was
It's
prime
like
time
very-
NBC during the 3 network era. You had
Yeah.
censors to walk through. I mean, it was serious.
And now it's up there. It's, you got all religions, races, sexualities getting, digging into each other's flaws.
Yeah.
It's very hardcore. There's chanting, there's jumping around, there's screaming. It's very, very raw and in your face and needed, I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah.
It's sort of a reaction to the politically correct climate.
Yeah.
It's like, but if we all have these flaws, these things we don't like about ourselves, things we've done, our shortcomings, and we just talk about, not me, I'm not a comic. I'm just a fan. I stay off the stage. But it's like, we have these things, and if they're just discussed in public in a loving environment, we feel better for it.
Do you have a favorite line?
Oh gosh. One of my favorites is probably like Joe Urell versus Robin Tran. So Joe has cerebral palsy and he's in a motorized wheelchair. He's battling a porn star tonight, if I'm correct, later on Roast Battle. And Robin Tran is a Vietnamese transgender lesbian. So they were basically just going back and forth.
Yeah.
In
Did they settle on a price?
I think that was more the haters. Yeah, the
Oh,
Saudi
oh.
Prince hater was like, I got too late to the auction. I need to. He's another character.
Yeah.
He gives things 1 or 2 towers down, depending on how
Yeah.
good the battle is. Tries to buy a lot of the female battlers afterwards, that kind of thing. But yeah, just basically the worst stuff you have ever heard. It went into overtime. You can look it up on YouTube. I think it's one of the highest rated streaming videos they have. And that's just one example of many.
My favorite was when I think it might have been the Donald Trump roast on Comedy Central.
Oh,
when
okay,
Cloris
Comedy
Leachman
Central
stood
roast.
up and saw all the B-listers sitting at the dais. She said, "Would somebody hit me with a shovel? I'd like to see some stars." Isn't that great?
Well, there's always the classic, the Jeff Ross one of, I wouldn't fuck you with B. Arthur's dick. That's a favorite. Kind of song, yeah.
That's a skank. Oh, wow. So here's what I want. We've got a lot of young comedy viewers, high school and college folks watching, and I devoured every book about comedy I could when I was growing up, and so do all the comics here. This is something that will teach you to be sharp and fast, and the kind of speed and lightning fast thinking you've got to develop to make it in today's comedy world. And Julie Seabaugh is the one that's bringing it to you, and it's illustrated for you millennials. And
Lots of pictures.
did you ever read the book The Last Laugh, 1975?
Oh, geez, that's been a while. I want to say like late 90s-ish.
Yeah, that's the best book
Been a
I ever
while.
saw on stage.
Oh, yes. Nice. Put it in the library.
Yeah. So I want you all to go out. We're going to have Julie back because I'm going to find the progress on this. Okay. So you keep storing up material for us. I like you, and I want you all to go out and buy her book, Julie Seabaugh's Ringside Roast Battle, ladies and gentlemen. Julie Seabaugh.
We've got a link up on YouTube to Amazon where they can pick it up.
We've got a link up on Amazon.
On YouTube right now. Click on the link. It'll take you to Amazon where you can buy it.
Okay, right now, go to Amazon and get this thing. It's really good stuff, and it's a really terrific author, Julie Seabaugh, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for her.
Yeah.
Fantastic, really. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we'll be right back after this.
Hey.
The belly room. It's a free country. Are you ready for roast battle? Welcome to the roast battle. It's Tuesday night, it's the belly room. It's a free country. Are you ready for roast battle?
Welcome back. Nice to have you back. Wow. Julie Seabaugh, Brian Moses were fantastic. And before we check out, get to announce a winner. I know we've had a lot of submissions, and we've been holding a contest called Guess Argus Hamilton's favorite Black Sabbath song. So, and it is, let's see, Crystal World with Winter Flowers turns my day to frozen hours. Lying snowblind in the sun, will my ice age ever come? Frimples Salamander. LS Salamander. This is the most embarrassing closing I've ever done. Free MPLS Salamander. Well, I'm stunned. What we have is a show here that we love doing every single week. Tell your friends about it. I mean, spread the word, because we're going to be heading up bigger, greener pastures very soon in a couple of months. And I want you all to be our core viewers, just like our core audience here. We're going places together, and we had a terrific night. Weren't the guests terrific? Weren't they fun? Julie, you guys were great tonight. And I want to thank Lauren Taines for producing me. Lauren Taines is a rock and roll singer, as a matter of fact, very tight with the Jefferson Starship. She plays radar for the Jefferson Starship. She warns Grace Slick whenever she becomes close to the melody. So she's valuable. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to see you next week, and we got great guests: Tony Hinchcliffe, Adam Ray. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. Tony is from Kill Tony, and we want all his viewers as well. I'm Argus Hamilton. Thank you. This has been a fun show. I appreciate it. All right, thank you all. Great dose. Way to go. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.